Trendline boys, quick update video, streaming. Thought it was the new week, so that was a little confusing. I feel like things make a lot more sense. We have another day left. We've seen a lot of these shorts get wrecked out. I think we might see some more pain coming up. We have a decent amount of time before the new week starts. Um, so without any real information, I think like the Ukraine crap and stuff too was is supposed to be like I don't think it's supposed to be over the weekend, right? It's supposed to be after or in the week in the like Monday or something like that. So I think there's a lot of anticipation just from that perspective of waiting for the new week. So just based on that, I'll kind of show some of these things that I'm interested in seeing, and we'll kind of just go over this real quick and make a video, and I'll just be done with the stream because I thought today was Sunday, the new week candle. Um, well, I guess you can't see it, but anyway, it's a dumb stream title once I now realize. So let's put this back here real quick. I think when we look at this from a week or is it a day perspective, I think on the day. So essentially, what I'd like to see here is it looks pretty uncertain. Like to me, most of these kind of candles want to come down. What I'd like to see is just another base, just like a base area right here, essentially just where the low of this day was. And then let's push back up. I think we have a lot of chance. This is a 30-minute 200. This is just a line showing where the bottom of the, I guess, 2 days ago or whatever was anyway. But so just kind of looking at that, this is what I'd like to see anyway. So we also have this under. We just started on the 2 hour perspective. So even from here, I think it would be pretty nice to see it come down. Maybe something switch over here and push up. This is just a 30 minutes, so I don't think this really has too much strength. I think there was a 2 hour average down here as well. One other thing I could see, but I don't want to see as much, is maybe it quickly coming down to here. I think that's more bearish at the end of the day because it just, ooh, actually, what's this at? 4175. I feel like that's, yeah, I mean, this isn't that far away from what I was in the 2 hours at. Yeah. So, I mean, that puts us pretty far under or 417. It looks ugly. So from a price action perspective, I think it looks a lot uglier because we're going to also have something else down here. And if something's going to do this, even if it is going to bounce, I'm more likely that it's going to either get rejected here at the low from 2 days ago or somewhere around here where we have the turn off. But any of these areas, I mean, it might not even come back to here. But to me, that looks more like something that would just drop down, get a bunch of strength, maybe push all the way back up to here, and we've already hit this up here. So this looks like a confirmation to the downside. So to me, this is more like just someone coming up for air and then just trending back down is what I would expect. So I think it has a lot more potential if we can just hold this area where 4,200 is, or 42,000. I'm sorry about that. And so that's really what I would like to see and move up. And so we can kind of see some of these other targets in an interesting way. And I still think a lot of this stuff wants to get rejected in a sense, but we actually do see a convergence between, so we'll show it right here. So this is what I think the bottom of the week that needs to be maintained. We could have said technically almost the same thing for here. Really, we want to see it here. Realistically, we want it for a real bullish something just straight push up. We'd like to see it start right above. We can kind of see it doesn't always go that way immediately, but we can kind of see here in the same kind of sense, trend change, bounce, boom. Where do we start? We start pretty much right above 375 right here, and the median, the median of the shift pitchfork. I'll show it once just cause, and we can just see it from here from 2015. So we got that. Let me do this 1 second. Okay. So going back here, we can see that actually meets up. The new week top actually meets up with where that 4 hour 200 is. It's a little bit under now, but they should be in the same relative range. I mean, this is what a $60, $70 difference right here. So this is 86 to 66. So that's just $80 right there. So that's really not too big of a difference. And so that's pretty interesting now that we see this here. This would be cool also now that this is a little bit lower, even when it's coming up, depending where it hits it. Just to, we'll have a more obvious lower low, I think. And depending where this is, we could even have a lower low than right here based on whenever it can get up, if it can get up. So let's just see here real quick. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty cool how both of those line up right there. I don't think we can afford to fall back down too much. I think there's another one I really like. Not this, not this, not this. I think it's over here. Um, Yeah, so once again, I think it's going to be really hard for us. I really don't want to fall back down past this. And this is another reason, because if we hit that 41.3 where the 2-hour SMMA is, um, it can just push us back up. It's possible, but I have to see what happens there because I do think it puts us in the position of being under all this. I think it's strong enough to just push it up, to just literally just hit here and just have a quick wick down and just come back up. But I would be a little bit concerned because that does put us. I mean, we can see all this here with this resistance. I mean, it's a pretty strong line. I wouldn't want to be on the bottom side of this. So really, I'd be looking for maybe any kind of candle opening over it. I'd have to see the shorter time frames when it does it, but it just looks so much better for some of these things to just come here and then try to push back up and fight. So we can see some of these areas. If anyone's interested, it is, here's the first one. You can just pause it since this will be a video, and here will be the second one. So 29,264.41 to or technically, or whatever, that's price one, and price two is 61,800. So we can just see it is from to the bottom of here, and then we get it from these three tops that I really like here on the day. So I like it from where it is, and it's worked pretty well. And I think it's been a nice reference point for some of these other things, and it gives us a little bit of perspective. So if we look at some of these closer up areas, we can see besides kind of the bounce there and, this here, this is a little super saddening. It didn't end above. I was hoping, I'm not going to show it, but I think 50K was the next target if we could just hold there. But we'll see some pretty decent stuff here. This here pushes through, and then we see something really nice here, which is our 4-hour. Where is it? Should be right here, which we can see more from the 4-hour. So bing, bam, boom. Finally find support here. Pretty surprising. I think it could have happened here just as easily, though. And then boom, start above, confirmation on the wick. And obviously, we still had this underneath us, too. So it wasn't too surprising that we either did something here. I thought it would have been a little bit more likely to do something here. I believe there was also that 4-hour average there as well. Yeah, so it would have met up with both of these. So I think that would have been a little bit better and a little bit more pleasing. But, I mean, once you find resistance, push through it, and then, it touches back down, as a shorter, you only really have so much chance. So kind of looking at that as another perspective, I'd really like to just see that. Let's see what the month looks like real quick. Month really doesn't show anything specifically from the month perspective. Whoops. Let's do this. Object tree. Where is it? Group one. Oh, whoops. Oh, let me get rid of these. So from the month perspective, I think it can actually still hold in a lot of pretty decent perspective or positions. So, but I think a lot of this is pretty far away and seems a lot more unlikely since we still have like what, 2 weeks? Pretty much 2 weeks. Yeah, just about 2 weeks. So it's not a leap year, right? Yeah, 28 days. So 2 weeks, 2 days. That makes sense. So from this perspective, I'd still like to see it end somewhere around 40,600. I think this is very unlikely that we'll see something like this. We'll have to see what the stock market really does because this is like 2 weeks in the future. That's pretty far. I don't see a point in guessing that. From the month perspective, this does make sense how we hit this target. I This is one of the things I was saying. I was thinking maybe I think a little bit like where this was like 45.5, somewhere around this, like 45 to 45.5. And then I was thinking the higher up target would have been, we can see the same kind of thing, this 48. And I could have seen maybe, yeah, this looks like it could be possible too, or it could have been with this 50K touch. But I think this would have been a fairly quick wick and a drop back down into this area. But that puts us in a great position to possibly, end here at 45, push up. But I think down here, ending somewhere around, what was it, let's say 40,600 to like 40,000 or 41,000, something like that would be pretty nice. Just like here, I don't want too much room, and I'd like to have, the idea of consolidating to push up. And I think if we could end there, I mean, it looks really bullish. I just don't think that looks nearly as likely as what I would expect. So the week looks really ugly right now. This shouldn't be what it looks like. I'm pretty sure this isn't what it looks like. Almost positive that's not what it looks like. Come on. Okay, so the week's not as ugly. Like we're not right under resistance. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much the same for it. We'll really have to see, and I guess one of the things I'll get into this is just to show some of the similarities and why I'm not worried about this stuff. We'll see when we open. So we can see some of the stuff with my trading strategy or like the way I trade, the whole averages, and the way that I interpret these changeovers and how I look at things as bullish and bearish and kind of look to Apple to kind of see what everything else does. So, and everything else has its own thing. I don't think Tesla usually does its own kind of thing. Usually doesn't go against Apple, but it definitely doesn't really go with it. It's kind of agnostic. Anyway, so we can kind of see this switch over right here. Just to kind of show, we can see we'll see this thing on a lot of other time frames, but I do remember off the top of my head. We'll also see stuff like we see the same kind of thing here, where we start under it. I mean, this is what we started. I don't know. What does this say the start was? So opened at 42777 and this line was 42786. So this is $9. Technically it's $8.09. I mean technically it's still too low to me unless I see something end above or start above, my bad. So it's the same kind of principle here. I'm not too surprised that there was downwards movement. Just to kind of add a little credence so people aren't looking at it saying, well, that makes no sense. But to kind of get with it, we can see some of these up here. We ended above, but we failed to start above. That's why I always look at it's important that we start above, not end above. That's why I'm not too big on weekend candles, because you really can't tell too much what's going to happen. If we start under, I would see it more likely we'd find resistance at wherever the find would be and maybe track back down. If we start in between, I mean, I think it's pretty indeterminate of what's going to happen. And in that situation, I think we're just ranging, and depending whether it looks worse, better or worse, um, it just depends where we are in a downtrend. It's kind of hard to explain with a lot of these specifics. I could kind of show with Apple in a sense. Um, like if we were here, like, well, no, like, I'm not gonna get into it too much. It's too much extraneous stuff. Um, But anyway, we can see the same kind of thing here. And then let's look at this at 130, and we can just look at some of these other ones and just pull this up and do like a little quick rapid fire. Let's go to 30-minute because we don't have the same intervals. The 130 there is, you're not going to see it here. So the 130 here is going to be this green candle. And then we can kind of just look at this real quick just to explain the movement. Whoops, the movement that this did. So just to see that it's not always just like super straightforward. So I like the 4 hour time frame. This is a 30-minute. I don't really care what the 30-minute did. We can see that the 30-minute failed here at 230. It's not too surprising to me that even though this started above, it didn't really go anywhere because we had such a large time frame haul. And to me, the 4 hour and the unless there's like if the 4 hour and the 2 hour there, they'll always, in my opinion, trump the lower time frames. That's the way I analyze. That's the way I anticipate. That's the way I'm going to keep doing it. So we do see this. We do start above. I don't really care because this is what's going on with the 4 hour, but we can see we turn over here at 130. It is under. We don't really care because we already see something in the 4 hour. But just to show, we did push up, struggle a bit, push up a little bit more, and then come down. So we can kind of see that there wasn't an exact decisiveness when this came under. I went bearish on it. I didn't have time to look at it all day, so I'm just going to take whatever position seems the best to me to reduce risk. So it just seems to get out. And we're not going to see another 4 hour till the next day. So if it starts above, sure, maybe I'll look for something there. So anyway, we can kind of see that looking at some of these other points in times. This is our 130 here. And then we see this trending down, trending down, trending down, and then now we're all the way down here. I think the end of the day was probably like somewhere around here, 6 o'clock right there. So we can see that there. We should be able to see it on AMD. Might have been a little excessive with what it did. We could try to find the 130 on AMD was at 11th. So this was already getting wrecked, which wasn't really too surprising. I mean, really, it's not too surprising from the fact that earnings hit all the way up here, and then it continued to come all the way up here. And just to show this real quick, we also have like our day target, and we can see on this day it started here and came all the way up just right to the day hull. So it's not really too surprising, especially whatchamacallit. It's not too surprising. But let's see if we can see something here on the 10:30 time on the day, because I might have gotten the day wrong. Or my bad, 11:30. So it wasn't too horrible. I mean, we can see on the shorter time frames, but it's not really too surprising. But I think this would have held if Apple held. I don't think Apple was going to hold just by virtue of everything kind of bring everything else down. But I think Apple's the easiest way to see it. So we see here 130, we get our little rise up, and pretty much just from there, it's down, 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 into the next day, down, down, down. We might be able to see the same thing. I think GME was a slight bit of a deviation. Let me see. I mean, well, we can show Ethereum real quick. Probably did the same exact thing. What was this? 11th? No, it was the 10th, right? The 10th at 130. So where's the 10th at 130? Geez, was it up here? Right here. So this already looks sketchy, but so we have our first 130 candle here. So we go from what? Open at pretty much 3180, and then we end the day where it ends at, it's not horrible considering, but around what, 2% down. But I mean, that's just the start of pretty much everything. And we can really see at this point, kind of just analyzing Apple and want to see what Apple does. So really on this whole rise up, we have our 2 hour that's kind of been pretty determinant for a lot of this stuff. We can just see with some of these whole averages. I think we have 4 minutes left, so let's go quick. We can see with these whole averages, boom, 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 here. We can see us falling under. We can see the rejection here, boom, boom, boom. We can see a rejection here because we started under, boom. This here, boom. Really nice. So we can really see some nice stuff with the 2 hours. Well, where's the day? Well, the day's not anywhere near us. The day's all the way down here, So here, we can also see here, very impressive that it actually managed to, oh, actually it started here. So this isn't that impressive. I thought it started here for a second and came up. But yeah, I mean, this makes sense. So looks like we started here, came up, boom, pretty standard. Um, no confirmation here on the day time frame. I don't know if there's anything on another time frame. Maybe I can see that real quick, but that also is usually more of a bearish thing to me. If we haven't confirmed, actually, no, no. Usually what is the most bearish thing for me is if we well, is it? So usually if I see confirmation and it doesn't go anywhere and it comes back, I'm usually pretty scared about that. Usually if it doesn't confirm, I expect there to be some sort of confirmation. This was earnings also, um, but I did like the price action I saw in the short term, so I don't want to completely write it out, but it does make me feel sketched about this place. But the day's here, so I'm not really too worried. But we see that we have the 2 hour pushing it up. In between, we have the 4 hour, which would have been nice. It's respecting it, but not at the ranges, like, or not at the ranges, I suppose. So like at the top, we're not really holding here. Same, we're not really respecting this, bouncing maybe again and then pushing up. And then we really have the 1 hour here, which has really been more the determining factor, which is a little bit worrisome because when you have a two and a or at least a 4 hour, because the two is up here and then here, on the tops, it's a little more concerning when you see more price action based off of a smaller time frame average than a larger time frame average, which is something that I've never really liked about this. Um, so really, I'm waiting for Apple. I really want to see what happens with these daytime frames with the Bitcoin. I still expect it to range. I'd like to see it play a little bit more to the downside. I still think it's kind of fine where it was. It's maybe a little too much expecting it to come all the way back to 42. But at the end of the day, I really just feel like the place to end the week that, and maybe this is the wrong way to say it. I'm just trying to go quick, so I have 1 minute left. But I really think the way to play the week is really to just have it around the day. It makes no sense. So the bottom of the week channel, we don't really care if it touches there, or if it ends there. It doesn't really mean anything particularly to me. Because that's just the top. Why would we want to end I mean, we ended the week like what here, but we touched the top. We already blown through. I think really in this range, we have to end here. Any end here to me looks pretty weak in this range. I think anything under here may be able to push up to test, which is why I'm super interested about next week. And like, just to end it this way, what I really want to see is let's get a lot of these shorts wrecked out. They've been staying in this stuff too long. Bitcoin's not bullish. It's just, in my opinion, are bearish, um, in a sense of what Bitcoin is and represents. But the stock market is just so bad. It's so intertwined. So I'd love to see something come up here and really just honestly even end the day here. I think that would be really nice. I still think this could get wrecked down, and then we'll see action there, which lines up with our 4 hour haul and also lines up, which is where we're going to see the new week. So take care, guys. Thanks for coming in. Peace out. Good luck.